We're recording. Mics are on.
That's a good thing. We're going to resume our meeting. Sorry for the lengthier delay than I thought, but we went over an employment contract in great detail.
Oh, yeah. I passed it. I made the motion to come out of executive session March 2nd with no action taken.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So Sandy can put that in order.
Thank you,
on
Mr.
TV
Siri.
now.
We're back in regular session
Roseanne
now.
reminded me of that.
So 4A is to review and authorize the first selectman to enter into the collective bargaining agreement between the town of East Lyme and UPSU, which is the labor contract union for the town hall employees, the public works, parks and rec, and water and sewer.
I'll put a motion out. Move to authorize the first selectman to enter into the collective bargaining agreement between the town of East Lyme and the United Public Service Employees Union, UPSU.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further comment? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. And one abstention from Mr. Cunningham. And your son works for the
He's,
one of the departments.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
that's, okay.
I thought it was appropriate that I abstained.
Okay, very good. We have a great relationship with all our town employees and department heads, and I'm thrilled that we're able to come to a conclusion on this one and carry it forward. 4B is the remove authorized but unissued outstanding debt from projects completed. It's the only reason why Anna's still in the house tonight. Anna, do you want to come up and explain what you're asking us to do this evening? Thank you.
So when the town is going to go out and bond for various projects that we want to move forward, we come before the boards and a town meeting to do that authorization. And we need to authorize the full amount that we plan to spend on the project. And there are times for various projects that a portion of it is going to be paid for by a grant or other sources of funding. But even though that's the case, we still have to authorize the full amount that we're going to spend. And so oftentimes, when you get to the end of the project, there's a balance remaining because we haven't bonded that balance. And so every year when we go to bond and we put together the official statement, I'm like, oh yes, all that authorized but unissued debt that we're really not going to ever borrow. So we should go through the formality, do a housekeeping, and get it cleaned up so that we don't have to disclose it anymore. So a resolution was put in your packet along with listing the issues that we plan to, we're proposing to eliminate the outstanding portions. I will point out that the ones that relate to water and sewer, we did go before the Water and Sewer Commission, and they approved removing it. So I just kind of thought I'd throw that out. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Anyone?
The only question I have, is any of this a result of projects coming in less than planned, or is it all because we received subsequent funding for the project?
I think it's a combination.
Okay, thank you.
Combination. Because I know, like, for example, with the regional interconnection, that was a project that it was definitely came in under what we originally budgeted.
Thank you.
Okay, under this total amount is, let's see how I want to phrase this. This is money that was bonded, or did
No.
we did short-term borrowing?
So in this case, we had an authorization, and we did not bond the full amount. So with the remaining balances, we would have never done any borrowing on that. It's just like a remaining balance.
So this is an on-paper balance.
Yes.
Yes.
And then this money was never spent, and it was never actually appropriated by vote?
It was appropriated by vote. So, for example,
It's appropriate, but that money isn't sitting there.
We don't have
Money.
one.
Oh, we don't have the
You never
cash.
exercise that part of the debt.
we never had the cash. If
Right.
it's a remaining
money.
balance,
You
it
had the
means we
authority.
never borrowed.
Okay.
But it's just to remove the balance of the original appropriation.
I understand.
Okay.
So there's no money to spend.
No money to spend.
You were hoping, Roseanne. She had designed, she was looking at that bottom line thinking,
Retirement's looking good.
We do not have $11 million in cash.
No.
Okay.
I do have one question, unless my math
sir.
is wrong. Is there any rounding in here? Because the project's listed, I think it comes to 119,244, but 118,244 vice 119,044,
In terms of,
the total amount.
Let's see that. It's good to have two engineers up here.
never mind.
What's the resolution?
Who has
The-
the calculator?
the amounts that we're looking, that are disclosed on Schedule A per project are the correct amounts. I can check, I'll check that.
As long as the
out.
total's right, because that's what we're really authorizing, right?
So,
I'm adding it now.
How'd it go? An engineer needs a calculator.
I have $11,118,244.
So.
So it's off by about $800.
$500.
So I don't know if the total's in error or if one of the line items might be different.
All the line items are correct because
Okay.
I checked them.
So it's an $800 number. So it's a 0 instead of an 8.
What's the total again, Mark?
$11,118,244.
Should double check.
And that's the number
I'm
you
doing
have?
it
That's
one more
number.
time.
He's
Yep.
doing a double check.
So you
Well,
added this
we've
column?
doubled, we can triple it now if you'd like.
Yeah, add them all, columns.
You added this column.
Yeah, I did them all.
So it's just a math. All right.
It's just math.
So the elements are correct, it's just the bottom line.
Right. So it's
Yeah. And that hits out to
8.2 instead of
the handout. Yeah, these are all the same.
the handout from the meeting, from the package.
Yeah. Yep, I get the same number.
Okay.
So which number are we going with?
Well, the one you just added, because
Okay.
she said all the other numbers are
Got
right,
it.
so I'll put out a motion.
To amend?
You good with that?
Yes, so the resolution is here.
And change the number to
Yes.
118?
I'm
You
good
okay with that?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay,
118,244.
yep.
Move that whereas the projects and purposes set forth on Schedule A attached hereto, the completed projects, are complete and are no longer intended to be completed, and the town desires to close out such completed projects. And whereas there are bond appropriations and authorizations remaining for said completed projects in the amount of $11,118,244, which are no longer required for such completed projects. And whereas the Board of Selectmen desires to reduce the bond authorizations for said completed projects. Resolved that the appropriations and bond authorizations in the amount of $11,118,244 for completed projects are hereby reduced as set forth on Schedule A attached hereto. Completed projects, sewer construction, $4,366,046. Solid waste collection vehicles, $5,000. I like that kind of a number, it's easy. Niantic Bay Overlook, $3,800,000. School renovations and improvements projects, $166,066. Townwide radio system upgrade, $250,000. East Lyme, New London Regional Interconnection Project, $2,209,131. Board of Education Central Office Roof Project, $95,000. Tower Truck Fire Apparatus, $160,000. Fire engine pumper, $15,000. Well 1A and well 6 upgrades, $52,001, for a total of $11,118,244.
Second.
Any further comment? Are there any further
Yes.
corrections?
Yes, I do have a
Yeah.
comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Considering that the school's renovation and improvements projects aren't completed, are we wise to,
I think that's for
Money?
This
for
is
other
a-
projects.
This is a prior
Prior
renovation
project.
This might be the high school renovation
Or middle school.
or middle school from a long time ago. This is not the one that's ongoing.
okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Sir.
On the well 1A and well 6A, the attachment shows $398,444, not $52,001. Look at the asterisk.
That's because at the time that we went out and did the official statement for which I attached that copy from, since that time, we recently did a permanent loan obligation for that, and so that's what the remaining balance was. That engineering work for that project actually came in at less than the original estimate.
Okay, all right.
So the
That's a good
$52,000
Is the correct number.
Yes.
is the correct number that
Right.
we have left over.
Yeah. Remember the paperwork that you just signed? Okay.
I do remember.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you all. We'll direct the Board of Selectmen members to meet with a non-affiliated group of employees. What we do every year is ask for a couple, I form a kind of a subcommittee to sit down with the unaffiliated group and discuss their relationship with the town. And I would ask that Mr. Siri and Mrs. Hardy to continue that service if you would. And we'd like to maybe even do it as early as next week. Maybe before the holidays, might be better, but we'll talk after the meeting as far as schedule goes. I'll tell you that the unaffiliated group has done a lot of work organizing and putting it all together to will keep us all on point, but also kind of memorialize their relationship with the town. And it's a good relationship with the town, and it's a fair one. And we'll put that all in writing and maybe make ongoing years that much easier when we get to this stage. So we're hoping to do that so that when we start putting the budget together, we already know the numbers.
If you would like to have that done before Thanksgiving, then I would have to ask if Mr. Cunningham might take my place, as I'll be in Washington with my students.
we will.
So I wouldn't be able to do
Are you
that.
squeezing one of those in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Or good for the kids. We might be able to wait after. What I'd like to get, I'd like it to get done before the end of the year. So let's talk about schedule, and if you can't do it, then I'll reserve and ask Mr. Cunningham
I would
to
be
step
able
up.
to do it after Thanksgiving.
Terrific. Good.
Then I'll move to direct Kevin Siri and Roseanne Hardy to meet with a non-affiliated group of employees.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We had fishing dock leasees here this evening. Two of them were leasees, and one who is temporarily occupying a space, as there was a transaction of a boat, and the fellow bought it, and he's kind of there, and he's still there. But we have the leases coming up, and I would like to put out an application. I think you've all gotten a copy of the application that we can certainly add to this. Did you not get a copy?
Yes, we did. It was in the folders. It's in the folder. Well, you can share with me.
Oh, yeah.
I'll look on with Roseanne.
You got it.
Okay.
Dropped it out here. Poor Kevin. Kevin always.
All right.
So, here's the deal. We have 4 dock spaces now. This is one of the toughest parts of this job, I'll tell you, dealing with this every couple of years. We have 4 docks. More than likely, we're going to be going down to 3 docks, because the 4th dock, which is the farthest from the ocean, so the farthest in to the Niantic River. Part of it is under the bridge. And the state has come in when they were looking at the painting of the bridge, which will start occurring in the springtime. They went, well, you're in our space. This is our easement, and you can't have anything underneath the bridge. Should it catch on fire, you'll destroy our bridge, and this is our easement. And I said, well, dude, these docks have been here a long time, and you all know about it. So we're now lawyers are talking to lawyers and all that, but we might go down to 3 docks, which is unfortunate based on the history of these fellows wanted a dozen. But one thing at a time. We have one lease that is on an automatic, he has the right to renew for several contract periods. That was negotiated several years ago. That would be the Black Hawk, who has made a major investment down there and has put a big, strong foothold into that dock. No other leases have that. So although Mr. Stepsky, who came in this evening and spoke to us, has been there the longest and has been there since the beginning and actually was instrumental in getting those docks in there. Doesn't really have a renewal provision. So he'll put in an application, but I think the 2 or 3 of us that will look over these applications, and I'll ask for volunteers next, will give consideration to people who already have leases. Part of the rules for having being eligible to have a lease to a slip on this town dock was that you needed to be a commercial fisherman with all of your income, hopefully, and if not, a substantial portion of your income coming from fishing. And that hasn't been the case with a couple of the lessees down there. So I would ask that the 2 or 3 of us to get together to review the applications, do our due diligence, and make sure that the commercial fishing license is up to, has been renewed and up to speed. And also, we might even ask for income statements from, income tax statements, et cetera, to verify, because we've had a big problem with enforcement down there. I think we'll be issuing 3 leases and a 4th one that would have a provision saying that should this lease disappear, there's no harm onto the town. This will be done until it's deemed no longer available. And that's my suggestion after giving this some thought. We talked about a sealed bid. We talked about a lottery, because there's several people interested. I don't think that's the right way of going. I think we wait, we get these applications in, and we put a certain weight toward, full-time fishermen, how long you've had your license, maybe. We put weight on people who might be from our town. And we choose that way. And then at the end of the day, we have a couple people who are tied, then you might draw a straw.
My recollection is that dock that's on the end is smaller
It
than
is
the
supposed to be.
than the others.
Yes.
And so the intent was that we didn't want to lose the space, but it would only an applicant would have to have a smaller boat in order to be able to utilize it. So rather than losing it, when you talk with the harbor master and some of the others, see if that might be a possibility that we limit the length of the boat that would go in that particular dock.
Your recollection is dead on, Roseanne, as
Son of a
usual.
gun.
It was intended for a small boat, and then these boats got bigger, and I guess it was, the lobster thing went away, and these boats have to be seaworthy much more. They go out farther, and they became bigger, and we have to look for a small boat for that position. I totally agree with you, and I think that might be the problem there.
I think
Any
that
issues, any
that
problem?
could be noted in a cover sheet
Yeah.
with the application, and if we don't get any applications for that, that should be a
Yeah.
separate application. If we
Yeah.
don't get anybody, we don't get anybody.
Agreed. Any other, what I would like to do is, what the plan is just to, we have a list, as Andy's been gathering names, and we'll mail these applications out with a phone call to the people who are interested, and we'll put those out there. We'll also put a blurb on our town website that these are available if there's anybody else out there that we might catch. But I think the local interested parties seem to know that this is
Yeah,
going on.
they're aware of it.
What about the leasing fees?
And I think that will
The subcommittee be directed to review the.
maybe review and then come back to the Board of Selectmen to determine the fees. I
Mhm.
think we'll
I
need to-
think prior to the applications going out, so that people know what they're bidding on, what they're asking for.
Okay.
That might eliminate some people who may not.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're usually lower than the market rate, but I think we need to also consider, there's a liability down there and there's everything else, so.
And need to take a look at what similar spaces are going for
Right.
in
Right,
neighboring towns.
right.
Yeah, does the town historically provide any maintenance down there to the docks? Is
No,
it,
they're actually, in their lease, it says they're kind of responsible for the maintenance of the dock.
but replacement someday, if that was required, the fees?
I think that's a gray area.
Yeah,
I think it's a gray area. I listened, and you all heard about the Stonington, town of Stonington getting grants. I
Grants.
think we should look into that. I'll talk to Rob Simmons about that and see what they're doing over there and see if we can get on that.
Definitely.
Well, the idea originally was to have those docks joined together, so it would be a long walkway, and people could come down and watch the boats being unloaded, the fish being unloaded. It's very popular in Stonington, in that area, for people to come and watch. But again, there's a big liability there
Yeah,
too,
there is that too.
with the public going onto the docks.
big car.
And with all the activity we have going on down there with the boardwalk and the big beach we have and all that, it's also a parking issue during the season. But anyway, would anyone like to join me in just getting this done? The leases come up on January 1st, so I am anxious to get these, and the people are anxious. We're getting phone calls weekly about, hey, when's this happening, kind of thing. So,
Mr. Cunningham, do you have a boat that goes in the water still? Does it stay afloat?
I do, and I'm getting pressure to get another one too, so, let's see. Yeah, I have a boat. But
I don't know
I'd be,
if that's-
you know,
I
I'd
think
be
we
happy
should know.
to serve and be involved in this, if that would.
I was thinking of somebody that actually utilizes.
all right, so Roseanne has volunteered Mr. Cunningham. Roseanne, would you like to volunteer anyone else? I'll be on this, and because they call my office anyway.
I'll be more than happy to volunteer if you need another person.
Yeah, well, Mr. Daigle, thank you. You're on a whole lot of ex officios too, but maybe we can grab you and do
If
this.
needed.
We should be able to bang something out on this
Yeah.
rather quickly. And
Yeah.
we have a couple of resources. We have 2 or 3 marinas in town. We could just, with a couple phone calls made by myself or Sandy, we could find out what the going rate might be and then reduce it by 25%. Because it's a town dock, not a commercial space, and it is limited in
Yeah.
its services. And
I'd be happy to be
Yeah.
involved.
And basically, we'll get the paperwork out the door, and once we get the applications back in 3 weeks' time or whatever, we'll just review them and weight them, and then we'll do all the work as far as notification. Won't be heavy lifting here at all. Thank you. Thank you, Roseanne, for volunteering our members.
Always,
Thank you, Ray.
always
I
willing to help a
appreciate that.
friend.
Now you tried to get them onto the other committee, but that didn't work.
I'm
so.
shocked and saddened that we must take a look at the end of this year and already looking at our meeting schedule for next year. And it's before you, and is there any glaring conflicts? To me, there's none. You always look for the Christmas and the
Yeah, we're,
Thanksgiving thing, you always look for,
Well, like our meeting coming up is, we have a meeting the day before Thanksgiving?
yeah, but that's.
No,
this
we
year.
don't.
this we do,
We're not going to.
No.
schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well, then
we
we're
can-
gonna have to have a special meeting, because I have to stuff the turkey.
We can,
There's something to do that night.
So Thanksgiving is the 28th next year, so that
Right.
doesn't conflict.
Yeah, it's
But
the
this year
fourth.
we do. It's
So,
just the day
Let's,
before.
let's talk about this first.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to make a motion to accept?
motion to approve the 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting schedule is presented.
Second.
Any further comment? Let's lock this one in, and we can always make adjustments as we go. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We do have a meeting coming up in 2 weeks. That does happen to fall on the Wednesday of a very early Thanksgiving on the schedule.
Yeah, the earliest.
Roseanne, I didn't realize, was the stuffer of the bird.
Well, I'm sure you must have a
I
responsibility.
have zero.
You don't
I
have to
have-
cut up the breadcrumbs?
Zero. If it was my choice, we'd go out for spaghetti and meatballs on Thanksgiving and just move along and maybe even work the afternoon.
This
wow.
comes from a person who's from the Gloucester fishing family.
Okay, we'd have codfish then. All right, yeah.
Okay.
But
Spaghetti and cod.
Stuffed salt.
it's the Portuguese fishermen up there. We're not. Anyway, we do have a meeting, and we have some items on there that we're going to have to tackle. I can't go to a one-meeting month here. So if you all want to look at your calendars, if you want to try to do this on a Monday or Tuesday of that week, if we don't want to meet on that Wednesday,
I was kidding.
well,
So
I was already sensitive to it.
if everybody,
I would prefer not.
if everybody else wants to meet, then I'll get an excused absence.
Tuesday, shoot. I could probably find coverage for that. Monday I can't.
We could meet earlier.
We could meet the Wednesday after, November 28th.
Well, I heard, no, we can't. I can't.
How
Because I
about
scheduled
how
myself.
about if we met earlier on that day?
I like that idea. Maybe we should start doing that all the time. How do people feel about a 5:30 meeting? Out of here by 7.
Yeah, I believe that. But
Oh, we do pretty good. An hour and a half meetings. Do you remember what's on our
I
calendar
suppose.
coming up?
Yeah.
Do you remember what's coming up in our?
We're still waiting on those ordinances.
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
No, there's one other thing that, and Anna wants it done, it has to be done in November, not December, even though it's an appropriation. I forget, but it is something that will have to be done in November. We're getting the request to do it. Of course, the world won't end if it doesn't get done, but, it might be a very short meeting.
Well, then 5:30.
Is that okay?
As long as we get should be able to get a
So
quorum.
obviously,
I'm
Yes,
gonna
ma'am.
be on vacation, so it may be hard to get somebody, we're gonna have to find somebody that.
or it might be easy, because it's 5:30.
How about 5
Yeah.
o'clock?
No, we'll do,
Is 5 o'clock even better?
Yeah, it's
what do
fine.
you think?
Yeah, that's a bit.
We'll go 5 o'clock.
Let's do it.
Okay. The 5 o'clock will be a special meeting, because of the special time, so we'll make sure that agenda's in order, so we can't add anything to it. And if whatever's coming up can wait, and I'll make that determination in about a week's time, I'll give you guys the night off.
Yourself included.
Yeah, I'll be working. I'll be catching up on something. So that's our meeting this evening. Ex officio reports. Are there any? Shall I start with you, Mr. Salerno?
Unfortunately, I was out of town, so I missed the building commission. I had library right before this, and nothing major to report on that. So I'll make it quick. Planning is tomorrow, by the way, and they will be deliberating the development up at the north end of town.
Green Valley.
Green Valley Lakes. Yep.
Green Valley, Green Valley.